What's up, guys? My name is Brad, and welcome to another F1 2019 Career Mode episode. Today we are in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix. I didn't have any upgrades coming in, so I didn't feel like it was important to go to the hub. It's going to be a dry qualifying and race, so it's nothing really too important to see that. So I decided to just jump right into qualifying and get into it. As we look at the results for Q1 here, I finished 5th, and Romain Grosjean finished 10th. I had an exceptional pace here throughout practice. I felt pretty good to drive. I was getting really quick times. The tire wear wasn't bad for the first time in like the whole series. We go to Q2. I finished P9. Grosjean finishes P13, getting eliminated there. So that's unfortunate for him. He was 4/10 behind my time, and he could have done a little better. He's been capable of beating me in the past, but here we are for my first run in Q3. I did do 2 runs, one right at the end, but it wasn't faster than this run, so this is the one I'm going to be showing. So here we go. We are crossing the line to start our flying lap, our fastest lap of the qualifying session. As we go through Q1, I went in a little deep on the second turn there, but it's okay. I didn't lose too much time. I still got a good exit. I felt like this chicane was a bit tough for me. I kept running over too far on the inside curve, and the first curve and the second curve, and then getting track limit warnings. But luckily I didn't get it there. Devin Butler sets the fastest lap, but as we go through under the bridge, lose the back end a little bit as we go through another chicane. And now the run up to the hairpin. This is probably the most important corner on the calendar. I go in a little deep, but the important thing is to get a good exit since you are going onto this long back straight here. If you don't get a good exit out of the hairpin, then you will not have a good lap time because you'll be losing time all the way down the straight. But here we go to the wall of champions. You want to make sure you use up as much curb as possible without cutting the corner there. So as we go across the line, it is a 110 even for pole position, or at least preliminary pole position, provisional pole position I should say. And as I showed the end of the second lap, I didn't improve, and I did fall down the P2. Lewis Hamilton pips my time by 1/10 of a second there, but it's not really too big of a worry. We are a 1/10 ahead of the Ferrari, and the Red Bulls didn't look like they had too much pace, so I wonder what happened. Bottas he didn't set that great of a time. He was 9/10 off Hamilton, but we'll see how the race paces.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. So there's no avoiding it. Let's start by discussing Devin Butler. There's a new gearbox in the back of that car, which means a grid penalty, and hopefully some excitement as they make their way through the field.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Bird completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Bottas, Leclerc, Raikkonen, and Devin Butler. They've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Kvyat, Romain Grosjean, and Hülkenberg. Norris, Kubica, George Russell, and Daniel Ricciardo. Weber and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
You're above where we expected on the grid. Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you.
So the strategy is going to be a two-stop. Either way, the low tire management, high tire management, it's going to be two-stop. So you might as well do the soft, medium, mediums. And like I said, I had good tire wear today. I might have been able to do a soft, medium if I really stretched it out, but there was no point. We've put in 2 extra laps of fuel in just because it's a heavy fuel circuit, and away we go. We get a loose back end there as we take off in the line. Sebastian Vettel is going to crowd the inside of turn 1, but I have the inside for turn 2. Hamilton is going to be driving away from us as I'm fighting with Vettel. I have to take a defensive line, but I actually get in front of him, and then I underestimate how the car would feel on heavier fuel, and I kind of go in deep on the first part of the chicane here. The AI get a really good run out of this chicane in particular onto the back DRS straight, so you gotta really look out for him. And of course I'm in a Haas, and the car behind me is a Ferrari, so it's gonna be way faster than me. So I just gotta do what I can to not lose positions and try to hold on. It looks like we are driving away from the pack behind us though, with the Racing Points, I think, but leading the backpack, so they're holding everybody up for now. But I got a Ferrari and a Red Bull, maybe two Red Bulls behind me. I'm not exactly sure. I can't tell. It's probably just one Red Bull. But get a warning for track limits there on the very first lap. I only get 3 of those, so I got to be careful for the rest of the race. But as we jump ahead to the middle of lap 2, you'll see what I mean when I say the AI get a really good run out of this chicane. I don't use up all the track that I could, and Sebastian Vettel is going to try to challenge me up into the next braking zone here. He's going to dive up my inside. I have to go wide, but I managed to squeeze him out on the second part of the chicane and managed to maintain P2. Hamilton has a 3-second gap to us, so I don't know what it is with the Ferraris and Red Bulls, but they just don't have the same pace that Mercedes does, and then Bottas probably just got blocked in qualifying, so that's why he's so far down. You can see that he's actually made it through the train of cars behind, and he's made it past one of the Racing Points, so that's good for him. We don't get a clean exit through the last chicane, but we did manage to pull a bit of a gap to Vettel on the back straight, so it's not too much of a worry, but right now he's right on top of us. I think the AI are a lot faster going through the first few turns than I am, and that's not going to be good for me as we head toward the back straight. I messed up that chicane again. I'm just not good on high fuel. It's just no practice in it in the practice sessions. The most you get is like 5 laps of fuel, or like 6 laps of fuel. But here we go into the back straight. Lap 3, so DRS is enabled. Vettel's going to go around the outside this time, but I'm going to brake late and just kind of squeeze him out and force him to back off. And we are now locked on Sebastian Vettel's POV, or the camera's locked on him at least, because that little move that he tried slowed him down so much. Now he's under attack from all the cars behind. The Red Bull is side by side. Probably got a better exit because I had the outside line there. Usually the outside line on that hairpin gets a better run. So the Red Bull's in front. The one Racing Point got past Sebastian Vettel, and then the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas is going to try to make a move, but Valtteri gets squeezed out on the chicane there. So he's going to make another move going down the pit straight, and he makes a successful overtake as they go through turn 1, but Vettel is still there on the inside, and they're still going side by side. As they head towards turns 3 and 4, you can see Bottas got in front. He got a clean run through there, and Vettel has lost 3 positions when he tried to gain 1 on me by going down the pit straight. So that stinks for him, but we actually, because of that and all the fighting, we managed to create a huge gap behind us. And now we are able to just try to settle into rhythm. It's lap 7. We are heading in for our first pit stop. We are switching on to medium tires. Hamilton has not pitted yet, so he's going a bit longer than we are. But I think we're the earliest car to pit. I think maybe my race engineer decided to come in a lap earlier. I feel like that was just because I was kind of a little low on tire wear on the softs, and I could just stretch out my mediums an extra lap. But now the issue is that I am in dead last. We're going to have to try to overtake some cars here, starting with the Williams of George Russell. They're all, he's on Warren soft, so it shouldn't be too hard. It looks like he's the only car in the back of the pack that decided to start on softs. Looks like most of them decide to start on mediums. As you can see, Giovinazzi is still on mediums, and I doubt he pit it yet, because he's in front of us. But here we go down the pit straight where the AI get a good run, but we got a good run on George Russell here. Not quite good enough to get by him, but we have a better exit out of that chicane, and we might be able to make a dive up the into the hairpin on the inside, lock up on the front right there. But it was crucial that we get by. We do not want to be sitting behind one of the Williams. They have a better engine than us, so it's going to be a little tougher to overtake through on the long straights as we go by Giovinazzi in a Alfa Romeo, who we do have a better engine than. So that's 2 positions right there in the matter of 2 corners. We get our second track extension, if I can talk properly. So if we get one more, we're going to get a 3-second time penalty. We are now on the back of the second Williams, Robert Kubica, who's also on soft, so I wonder what their strategy was. Maybe they have extremely good tire and they're doing a soft to hard. I do not know for a fact, but like Russell, we got a good run on him, and this time we're going to go to the outside of the hairpin. No lockup, but we managed to just squeeze Kubica to the hairpin and get by him cleanly. As we head down the back straight now, we have a Williams of, I think that's Lando Norris, and then Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault. We have a good run on them. Ricciardo does not have DRS, so he's at the mercy of us. Norris goes into the pits, and then Ricciardo locks up, just be at the awkward situation he was in, and that's us up a few poor places. Everybody pit as you could probably see, and we are now in the P3, lap 12. We are on the back of Romain Grosjean here. I don't understand how we always find ourselves behind him, whether it's like a legitimate battle or it's just like overtaking him here. Like, he hasn't pit yet for his first pit stop. He started on mediums since he got eliminated in Q2. We get around him cleanly with DRS. And now we are back in our position of P2. Hamilton is way out in front. He was only like he was pretty far up the road when we first started, but we had to battle through traffic, and I think he waited longer, so he didn't have to do that, and now he's just way ahead. Me and Verstappen come in at the same time on lap 21. We got 14 laps left. We are going on to another set of mediums, and we have a decent gap to the Ferrari behind us. But the real concern is Verstappen. But I was kind of worried about him because obviously he's in a Red Bull. But as soon as we come out of the pits, you'll see that I make it in front of Pierre Gasly. Verstappen doesn't. He's stuck behind the Toro Rosso now, so he's going to lose valuable time to us. That's going to allow us to get away. But we're going to cut to this replay of Albon coming in, and you can see that one of the Racing Points just collides into the back of the Ferrari going into the pit entry. I thought that was just kind of dumb, so I want to show you guys. But lap 23, Verstappen has managed to get past Gasly, and he is kind of closing in, but I think the gap's around 3 seconds. We lose DRS. This is probably like the perfect race to get a DRS failure because I'm not trying to overtake anybody. I'm just trying to keep Verstappen behind. He's 3.8 seconds behind, but if Verstappen ever gets in front of me, then I will be screwed. But as we go on to the last lap here, you'll see that the gap to Verstappen has remained the same more or less. Hamilton wins the race. We're just going through the back end of the track here. That's how far ahead Hamilton was. But even like Bottas didn't really come up the challenge or anything. The Red Bulls and Ferraris had no pace to match us. We were probably like on even pace, but I started ahead and they had like more traffic than I did to deal with. So that's probably why I managed to stay in P2 for this entire race. Literally the only overtakes I ever did were when I was trying to overtake those back markers when I pitted early. But here we go across the line. we are coming in for our second podium of the season, P2, our best finish in Formula 1.
Great work. Well done. We're really happy with the podium here.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So what a great race for us. Second place. As you can see on the best laps, I wasn't actually the fastest, so I wasn't even close to being the fastest. Just so that makes me realize that the difficulty of the AI wasn't too low for this race. Especially, it was just, I had better pace here than I did on other circuits. But moving on to the results here, Grosjean finishes all the way down in P13 where he started out of the points. So that's where we started for both of us. So I wish he could have climbed a few positions, but it happens. I thought he would have been able to make one stop work, but it looks like most people, or everybody, did a two stop. Verstappen completes the podium, and Devin Butler doesn't finish too well either. With that great P2 and was 18 points, I move up 2 positions all the way up to 7th. With now I have 41 points. I am 9 ahead of Sergio Perez behind me. Best of the rest for Haas here. Grosjean's still stuck down there in 11th, but if one good point finish can put him into P10 there. He's only 6 points behind Kimi Räikkönen. As we move to the constructors standings, Haas is now in 4th place, which is also best of the rest, thanks to my point finish at McLaren's expense, of course. But it's a good weekend for us, I gotta say.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You must be thrilled to be up on the podium. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret? Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you? You've had experience with Devon's fast, aggressive style. Any advice for the drivers he passed today? Appreciate your time.
So here we are in the race breakdown. We obviously completely destroyed Lucas Weber and Roman Grosjean in the rivalries, except for the fastest lap, which Grosjean apparently got. But we are still beating him. We get a good chunk of points here. I think our contract objective was to qualify P6 or higher, and obviously we crushed that with our P2 qualifying. And we're just going to move into the R&D tree. We have 1,400 points to spend. As you can see, the engine upgrade for the engine power is going to be ready in 2 weeks, so Austria. And I decided to do a tire wear upgrade. I did have good tire wear in this race, but in other races it's been a little bit iffy. Like in Monaco is a bit tough. Spain was a bit tough. And I also decided to go with the gearbox upgrade just because I need to work on a little bit of durability. I want to do an ICE upgrade soon, just because that's probably my worst engine component. All the other ones are more manageable. Just I rev out I think most players experience this where they rev out the engine, but anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more content. I am uploading more regularly now since I'm home all day. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.